Welcome back to episode 4 of the 80's VHS Drum Set, okay? Where I'm taking all these classic VHS covers and I'm going to be putting it to a early 1980s Ludwig concert tom kit. All right, so in episode 4, we're going to be doing some more analyzing of some rare VHSs that I have picked up for the project. And in episode 1, I explained thoroughly how I'm going to be doing this. The big two things that I got to do to prep these shells, because in episode 1, I was doing a lot of explanation. 2, I was taking all the wrap off. And then the last episode, I had to sand and strip all the glue boogers off these shells. Now they are totally prepped, but not just yet. I have to take... For the bigger holes that I fill up, Bondo, and for the smaller holes, I'm going to be using wood filler. Here, I'll even show you in this camera here. I always forget that I have all these different cameras. The wood filler is for the small holes, so you can see these are for these unnecessary mounting holes. And then for the big guys... because I believe this was for a modular bracket for 80's. The Ludwig modular brackets were these big, bulky, I think they were like 3/4 inch tom arms, similar to what you see today, but they cut too big of holes for these things. So I'm going to be filling these in with Bondo, all the smaller ones, and even the unnecessary air vent with just normal wood filler, okay? That shouldn't take too long. Then I'm just going to sand it flat. And then I'm going to be taking the shells, the 8, the 10, the 12, the 14, the 15, the 16, and then the big 24-inch bass drum over to Klein Drums, and I'm going to link the website down below. And he's going to be cutting the bearing edges. I've tried once, maybe twice, on cutting bearing edges on shells. Bearing edges is where there's a taper to the edge so that the drum and the drum head meet up perfectly. But I did not do a great job. You really have to have steady hands and the right equipment for it, and he does. So I'm going to be showing you how he does that. Videotaping a little bit. I don't know how long he's going to take with those. But yeah, he's going to be doing the more important batter side. And he just might clean up the resonant side head, even though there's no resonant side head on there. So long story short, we're going to be continuing talking about all the VHSs that I'm going to be included. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Crocodile Dundee, which was actually the first PG-13 movie I ever saw in the theaters. Lost Boy, Joel Schumacher. Great films, as well as a couple of the other ones that I've picked up recently that I'm going to be including into the drum set wrap. Okay? So with that being said, this is episode 4 of the 80's VHS drum set. Enjoy. Now that I got all the holes filled and I would say a large portion of the sanding done, I'm going to be heading over to Klein Drums and Christian Klein. I've worked alongside of. I taught for him in his old shop, Drums on Sale, which is sadly no longer in existence, but he's given birth, so to speak, to a new shop where he's concentrating on repairs, custom work, logos. You can find him at Klein Drums. And here's just a teaser of his website. Let me get me out of the way there. But yeah, he does custom logos for your bass drums. He can even do like silver dots and dots for your drum set if you want custom made stuff like that. Old custom shields, all of that sort of thing. And it gives you even a hint of what all repairs he can do. So again, Klein Drums there is where I'm heading over to. And you'll see all that work here in a moment. All right, just got back to my studio. Klein Drums did the 8, the 10, the 12, the 14, the 16, the 15, and then the big 24-inch bass drum. He did a beautiful job at the 45s inside and then the rounded over outside edge, okay? So he did that on all the batter heads. He did the batter and resonant side of the bass drum, and he just cleaned up the bottoms, right? The ones that won't receive any drum heads. But yeah, beautiful job. Now, he typically would have done the wax to go on top of it, but I've held off just because there's just a few more things I need to sand out, which won't be a big deal. And then I'll actually apply that here at the beginning of next video. But beautiful job on the 45 and rounded edges of the bearing edges, okay? So thank you to him, and check out his website as mentioned earlier in the video. 3 holy grails that I was trying to find. Even in episode 1, I had not acquired these yet. So these actually just came 2 days ago, so check it out, all right? First one out that was hard to find, shockingly, was Down and Out in Beverly Hills, starring Richard Dreyfuss, Bette Miller, Nick Nolte. Why this movie stuck out to me as a kid is Little Richard plays the neighbor to Richard Dreyfuss. He's got one of the best rants you ever hear ever in movies. So Down and Out Beverly Hills, totally worth it to be going on the drum set. Transylvania 65000. Kind of a cult movie, and it's kind of panned, but it's got some of the best one-liners in it. It's Jeff Goldblum, Ed Begley Jr., Gina Davis, Carol Kane, and Michael Richards before Seinfeld. And it's just about two reporters going to Transylvania to investigate Dracula and all these different monsters. Dumbest comedy, but yet it's one of the most quotable films. So yes, Transylvania 65000. It's not the best copy. I'm going to have to clean up that for sale sticker, and it's got some creases. But by the time I put that on like a laminating, the clear laminate over it, it should flatten out. There'll still be creases, but oddly enough, the creases kind of go with the lightning bolts in the cover. The other one that was super hard to find, Clue. Great movie. Has 3 alternative endings, much like how the game would be, except for the game had more ending possibilities. But yeah, Tim Curry after Rocky Horror Picture Show and post Annie, because he was in Annie. Annie's actually in the collection as well. That will be going on the drum set. Christopher Lloyd, around the same time that he was in Back to the Future. Martin Mull, who sadly just passed away. Michael McKean, Lenny from Lenny and Squiggy, Shirley, Laverne and Shirley fame, but he was in Spinal Tap. He's also in Better Call Saul. He's a character actor, but plays Mr. Green in the movie. But yeah, Madeline Kahn. But yeah, really hard to find, and that one's in a perfect condition. So that one looked great. That one I'm going to prominently put on maybe the 12-inch, kind of up in front, because that is worth it. And iconic little cover, okay? So yes, Down and Out in Beverly Hills, Clue, and Transylvania 65000. Those were some of my... There was a list of about 10 choices that I still didn't have. These were 3 of them. Still looking for Poltergeist. I can't find Rocky Horror Picture Show. Tron, I'd like to put Tron on there, the non-clamshell one. So there's still a few I'm going to be looking for, and at the worst case scenario, I'll put it on the last drum that I do, okay? So yep, there's the slight bucket list almost being completed to put on the 80's drum set. That's it for the 4th episode of the 80's VHS drum set journey project, where we finally filled in all these unnecessary holes. You can see how clean those lines are now. We also had Klein Drums do all the bearing edges, which are beautiful now. We discussed the rare VHSs that I have been looking for. Now I'm going to close out today's video with a simple demonstration of how I got to start to cut these VHS covers. Next week is going to be the more important first big journey, which is I'm going to finally do the 8-inch, maybe even the 10-inch drum of the cover. So we're going to get finally a look at what this vision is going to look like. But I'm going to end today's video with how I'm going to cut these. So long story short, find where the old glue mark is or where the overlap is. Just taking a box cutter with the VHS still in there, and I'm just going to be slicing through that. Now we just unfold, and by the way, I'm testing this out on kindergarten carp, okay? But there you go. Now I can start cutting these up next week, okay? So that's how I'm doing that. Show the above shot there real quick. But yep, that's a simple method to cut these. And again, to the VHS collectors, beware. I'm not destroying these. I'm just honoring them, okay? So that is it for episode 4 of the 80's VHS drum set, all right? And then next week, we got that important step of finally doing the fun part, okay? All right, we'll see you then.